Alright, looks like I'm running long at this point. My resolutions, got a ton of them, but I mean the biggest thing is I've got to do something about the production time. Because for a 5 to 6 minute, like really well edited video, it's running me maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes, which, you know, is kind of outrageous. I shoot and reshoot minor clips just to get everything in sync, to get all of my dialogue and so forth sounding decent, so I don't go ums and ahs, and probably won't edit this video as much. But I usually go back and I reshoot segments just to take out like all these little pauses and, you know, just repeats of stuff that doesn't really push the review along, just because that doesn't really add to the review, it just adds to the time on the review. And I mean, it's the kind of padding I'd like to spare the viewer. That means at some point I'll probably have to buy a half-decent camera and a half-decent editing package, because I'm still using my PS3's iCam thingy I picked up cheap and the iCreate software on the machine. Also, I really don't like the resolution and lighting, and for what I was originally setting out to do, I think I've largely failed in some extent. So whenever I do get better equipment, I'll probably reshoot like a lot of my reviews, except for, you know, it'll be straight boiled down to the point for people who are just trying to look for some immediate buying advice. I mean, these longer reviews are great if somebody wants to be entertained and is learning about a figure that they might not necessarily have known about before, or trying to decide to buy, but there are a lot of people out there looking specifically for one product and they want straight answers. And that's really the kind of stuff I want to focus on. So yeah, things I could do better. First of all, somehow figure out a way to really cut down the production time to make this a lot easier for me. Concentrate the material so it's of greater interest to whatever viewers might be watching, then, you know, really upgrade the equipment, because I don't think that these figures look as great as they do in real life through the way the camera's portraying them, just because I'm getting a little bit pixelation now and then. My lighting is too glary at times, and I really just want to go a little bit more all out. Especially like when I watch action figure experts reviews. He has absolutely gorgeous looking visuals in terms of lighting, in terms of the camera work, but he really doesn't show the articulation off as much sometimes, which kind of irks me. But he's got like a crazy selection of some of the rarer stuff, and I've got to get back to doing a bit of the rarer stuff besides the more mundane. Although I guess the biggest thing I should really be focusing on at this point is just the fact that I really don't self-promote, or I don't really promote myself at all, which is why I'm just relatively unknown at this point. I know a lot of people go out and they'll like tag some massive video, something with like thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of hits with their review, just so they can get like a lot more eyeballs and then get attention to their channel, or they'll leave generic comments to like check out their channel, which I've thought was a little bit tacky, and I didn't really get into that. But, you know, I guess that's what you need to do to just really get people's attention on YouTube. Well, that sort of stuff's like really not in me, because I'm not a really huge get out there and get people to pay attention to you sort of guy. I'm more of a reserved individual by nature. But, you know, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. And I'm just adding up the individual clips right now. It looks like I've gone pretty way long, so I've got to break this up in 2 parts. But I mean, that's part of the reason why I do heavily edit as it is. But I mean, if I had better equipment or better editing capabilities, I could just ramble to my heart's content and just cut all the really disconnected stuff out and just keep the material concise and probably do it in considerable less time. Because I have a nasty habit of just kind of zoning out and going off on tangents, and I guess I'm very EDD or whatever like that. At any rate, I still have my actual year-end thing to come for people who actually watch my channel, and it'll be like the best and worst of the stuff that I've bought in the past year across a whole variety of categories, which I think will be a pretty cool wrap-up to my first year of collecting, given that I've bought so much in the past year. That's my other big resolution. Don't don't buy as much next year. Hopefully I can keep it. Because I have a sinking suspicion I went through close to 3K this year. I don't know for certain. Just because I've got everything like so mixed out, and just all my purchases are spread out between the PayPal, which draws from the bank account, the credit cards, and because obviously I wouldn't use PayPal when I'm at the in a department store or a toy store or so forth. But I mean, I use that for eBay, and I use my credit card for Amazon, and then for other stores. Other stuff that I actually like recorded, I know that I was at like 1,500, and then I wasn't necessarily writing down the stuff that I wasn't getting on eBay, or a lot of stuff that all the eBay purchases I was getting, so yeah. But because I'm not much of a drinker, and I don't do drugs, and I'm not a huge club guy, and I don't attend concerts and all that other stuff, I guess I just have a lot of cash lying around. So I mean, it's not like any of that's a huge deal at this point, but I just really have to moderate going forward, because I mean, the first year is just bound to be a hell of a lot more expensive than every year going forth, especially when you've got just a whole decade worth of cool figures between the Marvel ones, the DCs, and all sorts of stuff. So I basically ended up cramming like 10 years worth of buying that people would have done, you know, over the course of time into like a single year, so. But that's how I rationalize it at any rate. Plus, I guess, I mean, half the stuff I really want I already have, so I guess going forward it probably would have to be less expensive anyway. I'm just rambling, and it's probably a bit more personal than it should be. By the way, fun fact, my greatest addiction in life, crane grabs. I can't resist UFO catchers, aka crane grab machines, where you've got all these little stuffed animals in there, then you've got to manipulate the crane to pull them up. And I also have a pretty huge stuffed animal collection as a result, but I mean, lately it's gotten so bad that I've just give away like half the stuff I win from the machines, but not the abominable snowman here, he's too cute. But I mean, that's more for the thrill of the hunt too. But yeah, that's the whole video. I don't know how many other people are going to respond, because at this point I've only seen review revolutions, and I have a feeling that even when I respond, not a huge amount of people are going to go back and check the video anyway. You know, out of sight, out of mind. Plus, I mean, even personally, you know, just something like this can be a bit of a longer thing for some people, so. Yeah, I think I answered all the questions, and then possibly some, so I'm going to call it a day right here and now. So, until next time, folks.